pictures. We're not going to see a picture, are we? Charles, this is a life, isn't it? Hands on! Oh, go now! The taste! Move it! That's all that's out of me!
He was a master at falling over. I mean, he was brilliant at it. I don't know how he did it, and he did it with such style in Milan. He would suddenly be standing, and then he'd be on the floor.
People think that slapstick is something that is maybe slapdash and just made up and rubbish, but it's not. Norman Wisdom has got it off to a really fine art.
You gonna give in? You'll get yourself soaked! You get soaking wet!
Lorne, before I met him, was the most popular film star in this country. I remember going to see a film of his. I got to the cinema and they were lined up right round the block of the whole cinema. There must have been about 500 or 600, maybe even more than that, people lined up 4 deep to see his latest film.
You got my lever. What have I done?
The fact he's dauntless, that was the wonderful thing about him, that he could, there he was at the bottom of the whole social pile, and he simply didn't recognize this. I'm as good as you lot.
What? Oh. Now what? I left my cap up there. Tuck it down, will you? Your cap. Hey, what time in the morning?
I've already told you 7:30 sharp.
Oh. Hey, well, get the shout about 7, eh?
And keep our secret!
He was the last of the proletarian comedians, really. I think a lot of his comedy comes clearly from a very, very, very difficult childhood. And I think the way Norman personally dealt with the difficulty of his upbringing was through comedy, but the humiliation that he puts himself through on the stage, the routine with the boxing machine and so on, he wrings laughs out of his humiliation, and that comes instinctively but very deeply from his psyche, I'm sure.
My parents were divorced and split up when I was 9 and my dear brother was 11. My father was a chauffeur, and when mother left home, he was brutal. I can remember being cheeky, a little bit cheeky perhaps sometime, and he picked me up and threw me like that. And I hit the ceiling and then came down in the corner. I hit the ceiling. And then he just walked out and left me there. My mother used to come and see myself and my brother at school, and you know, after school sometimes, just come and see us. About once a month, something like that. But one Christmas day, she bought me a bicycle. It was a fairy cycle. And I went home, I was so delighted. So excited. And my father said, what's that? I said, it's a fairy cycle, Dad. He said, where'd you get that? I said, Mum gave it to me. He grabbed it out of my hand and stumped and stumped and stumped, smashed it to bits. Unkind.
Hey! Hey, stop! Stop, stop! I got your number! JB8 025! I got it! Oh, look! I got your number two! And I see our 45! Hey, look! Hey! I got your number two! JB8 80805! JB8!
When I'd left school, he opened the door, came in, just looked at me and said, "Out." And he opened the door and I went out. And I remember I walked down the steps, just in front of the door, walked down the steps and he slammed the door, and I turned around and I said, "I'll never see you again, Dad." And I never did.